What's going on, folks? Life Lessons with Juvy. I'm your host, JuvyThaKid. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at JuvyThaKid. Now, today's going to be a bit of a heavy life lessons episode for some. I was asked by one of the hooligans to touch on suicide and just, bring awareness a little bit about like maybe some suicide prevention or just kind of maybe try and shed a little bit of different light on it for some people. It is a very heavy subject. I understand that. So if anybody doesn't want to hear about suicidal thoughts, kind of like stuff like that, you know what I mean? If that's too much on you, I understand. But I ask that you at least click out of this video. Any disrespectful comments or anything like that, basically going to be deleted, and you're going to get blocked from all platforms. I'm not gonna tolerate disrespectful comments or anything like that when it comes to a topic such as this. So the problem that I see a lot of the time is, at least like from like outlooks about like people who have committed suicide or the act of suicide itself. A lot of people will say that it's a cowardly act and those people are weak. In all fairness, I don't think that is a cowardly act. It takes a lot to kind of push somebody to that point, and it takes a lot for somebody to take that final step. They're not trying to be selfish of anything. For some people, they might actually feel, or they could have even convinced themselves that, without them, people would be better off. It's a hard thing. There's a lot of different variables really that can, be taken into consideration with it. With some people, they don't have any other options. You know what I mean? They don't know how to articulate their emotions and get those feelings out to anybody. I know it's easy to say, oh, well, there's counselors, there's family or friends, whatever, but depending on like certain things that even the family and friends have said around that person, that might, prevent them from talking to you because they know how like negative you feel about it or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't say the same for females, obviously, but with men, a lot of the time we're kind of told to suppress our emotions. It's fine to show like if you're angry, because then you're ready to fuck shit up, and you know what I mean. But if you're sad or if you're depressed, if you want to cry about something, a lot of the time you're told to suppress that because men aren't allowed to cry. So when it comes to feeling depressed and perhaps suicidal, it's hard for a lot of men to articulate those thoughts. It's hard for them to get those feelings out because their whole life, we're told to push that shit down. You know what I mean? You got to be tough, you got to be hard or whatever. And that's not the case. I don't agree with that at all. If you're going through shit and you need to talk to somebody, you got to try and get that shit out of you. With suicide, it's a hard thing because it leaves a lot of questions for people. Why did they do this? Was there something I could have done to stop it? And honestly, a lot of the time, there's nothing we could have done to stop it, unfortunately. It's a sad thing, but that's something that you kind of have to admit to yourself. Sometimes that person's mind is made up. They've either made peace with that decision or they've been pushed too far. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, I don't know. Like, I've had friends where we finished the phone call of me trying to talk them down, from doing something like that or killing themselves, whatever. And a couple hours later, I get a phone call or I get a text that, they killed themselves. So, sometimes there isn't anything we can do. You know, it's just that person. It's just it's been too long of just feeling this way. It's been too long of waking up every day with the same pain inside, with the same uh, frustrations or obstacles, whatever it might be. You know what I mean? Everybody's situation is different, so it's hard to just kind of talk about just like talk about it as like a broad stroke thing. You know what I mean? Paint everything with the same color, because that's not the case. Um, One thing you can do, you know what I mean, like, is if you notice somebody kind of slipping away on you, like their emotions are getting the better of them or whatever, just, you know, just offer them the ear to talk. You know what I mean? if if it's one of those things where they can't really open up to you, if you know them, you know they're a good friend or whatever, maybe share some personal stories of your own with them. You know what I mean? Open that lane for communication and sharing. You know what I mean? Um, it's a hard thing, because even from like myself, um, going back to that whole, sometimes people just make peace with it, or you know what I mean. They're not thinking of themselves. For me, like I've struggled a lot with suicidal thoughts and suicide like attempts as well. For me, it was one of those things where, in my mind, if if I'm not around, the kids still have their moms. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be taken care of. They're going to have all those people that still love them, that'll still be there to take care of them and everything like that. That was the way it was, kind of worked out in my mind. As far as friends go, it wasn't, at that time, it's not like I had any like really great friends. You know what I mean? A lot of them, when I wasn't around, it was just making fun of me or talking shit about me, or, whatever it was. I wasn't in a good place. But like it was one of those things where, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about myself. I wasn't like, oh well, like I'm feeling like this, so I need it to end or whatever. It's, my first thoughts were about my kids, and I was like, okay, like, are they going to be taken care of? And I kind of like broke that all down in my mind. And then, I don't know, you come to peace with it. It's weird. I attempted to hang myself. I know it's kind of, cliche story, I suppose, but I tried to hang myself with a belt, and I remember I brought in a kitchen chair. I slipped the belt over a door or whatever and closed the door so it was tight on it. Had it like looped up or whatever, and yeah, just kicked the chair out, and I felt myself go unconscious. You know what I mean? Even from like jujitsu or whatever, I know what getting choked out feels like, and it was weird. You know what I mean? Like, it was like it was a level where you're unconscious, but you're conscious at the same time. You're blacked out, but you're still awake. Um, like I felt myself slip away. I felt like the dark, like just a blackness take over. And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the floor. The belt was still around my neck, but the other half of it was still trapped up on top of the door. Um, I don't know. It just didn't work. You know what I mean? And I can't, I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, you know, maybe it's because of this, or maybe it's because of this cosmic reason or whatever. It just didn't work. It wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? Um, and even since that day, I've struggled a lot with those thoughts. I've struggled a lot with self-destructive behavior, especially in like my early 20s. I was still trying to figure out, who I was, like trying to figure out how to deal with a lot of shit I was still holding on to, a lot of shit that was still haunting me. Um, so it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? Like some people, it's not, I don't know. It's not anything where it's, um, you know, they're doing it for attention or anything like that. It's just they don't know what else to do. Uh, you know, depending on what the person's going through too. You know what I mean? Mentally, emotionally. Uh, it's kind of one of those things. A lot of the time, you know, it's hard to just, especially nowadays. I feel, or no, I don't know. I don't want to just say that, but you know, just to be yourself, to be a creative person in a way, or to think outside of the box from everyone else is it's a scary thing. And a lot of the time when you know we kind of try to, you know, not try to be that person, but like you know when we are that person, it's just it's weird because it puts your mind in a weird place too because we don't, you know, I don't know, you see that like people don't see the world the same as you or they feel the same about things as you. And in a way it saddens you, you know, as it goes on because you try to convey certain things like how you're feeling or how you see the world or whatever, and it's just you're in this constant cycle of just like you wanting people to understand so bad, but like they don't understand, and then it drives you nuts, but it might creatively drive you at the same time, and you use that to help to try and help people understand, and then we just kind of keep continuing the cycle. And some people can only go through that for so long. You know what I mean? Other people, you know, with just like personally, like not if you're not like a creative minded person, like doing art or whatever it is, if you're just like a regular person, you know, sometimes you just go through shit. You know, choices are made, and I know it's easy to say like, well, that's your past. Don't let your past like haunt you. Don't let your past dictate your future. But it's not that easy. You know, some people have had to make some very tough decisions in their life, decisions that have permanently affected families, permanently affected other people's lives, other people's health, whatever it is, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. You know, I'm sorry to bring it around to this, but like I finished watching The Punisher like season 1. And there were so many moments in that where I was like, you know, like I know these guys are actors and stuff, but like, you know, you start thinking like the choices that soldiers have to make, the choices that veterans have to make, you know, it's not for some of it, it's not as easy as just, you know, oh, it's a faceless enemy, we shoot at them, it's all good, we go home. A moment clicks in or sinks in when they realize that's somebody's son, that's somebody's brother, that's somebody's dad, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's certain things. It could, you know, I'm not saying that's the only way it clicks in. It's just, you know what I mean? Like that's the example that came into my mind. I can only imagine how fucking hard it is, and like the choices that certain people would have to make and certain actions that they would have to do. It's more than understandable why it would stick with them, why it would haunt them in a way. Fuck, like what we need is more. I wish I had the answer, you know? We need to shatter certain images, you know? Like men need to be able to actually say how they're feeling without having to deal with like this fucking social media backlash with people are going, you know, oh, well, you're a white man, so you don't understand any like sort of struggle, or you know, you're this, so like it's man, like, you know, we need to smash these fucking macho egos about certain things, you know, and just fucking like fucking be able to for men to share what they're really going through. Just unload everything, you know what I mean? Have places where it's not just sitting in a room talking to a counselor. More creative type therapy, like more creative outlets, you know what I mean? Like have a one-on-one with that person, you get some interests and stuff like that, and you use those interests to help that person kind of get through shit. I don't know. I wish I had the answers though. I really do. What we can do as regular people, you know what? This is something we could do. If you've been through it, you know, you've struggled with those type of thoughts, share your story for others. You never know who could benefit from it. Somebody might be going through that shit right now. And then they read your story and they're like, holy shit, I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. And that stops somebody. If your area has like a suicide hotline or something like that, I remember when I was younger, they used to have like the kids' help phone and stuff. You know, fucking share that around if you can. You know, if you're a younger person watching this, reach out to the kids' help phone. Honestly, like if you feel like you can't talk to your family or friends, sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger if that's what it takes. You know what I mean? It's sad though, you know, when young people feel like they don't have an answer for the pain that they're feeling. It's, you know, it sucks. It sucks when older people can't can't find any other answer, and they leave behind their kids and their wives and their husbands and, you know, their pets and whatever. And then, you know, when a young person does it, and that parent has to, you know, that parent has to bury their child. It's it's a sad thing. It fucks with me even thinking about it, because I got 3 kids of my own, you know, and my oldest is in grade 9 right now, and high school is rough for some people. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I would never want that to be something I have to face, and I wish I could have the answer so other parents don't have to face it either. We got to spread hotlines if we can. We got to just be there for other people if we can. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had the answers, you know. But like I said, share your story if you're comfortable with it. You know, so it might help somebody. You know what I mean? And honestly, I know if you've lost somebody you love or you care about, whatever it is, to suicide, don't beat yourself up. Don't try and, you know, find answers to all these questions, because a lot of the time that's just going to drive you crazy. You know, I know it's hard, thinking, you know, why did they do this? You know, what could I have done to stop it or whatever? You know what I mean? It's, sometimes that person left not wanting other people to know those dark answers, because that might have hurt the person they love more. And that's a sad part of the ugly monster that is suicide, and often mental health illness. So, I appreciate the folks who have sat through this. I'm sorry it was such a heavy one, but honestly, sometimes these are needed. If anybody's watching this and you are going through a dark time, you're feeling like you don't have the answers, and you're feeling like, you know, taking a permanent solution, don't. Please don't. I know everybody says this and shit, but it's, you know, fucking, I've been through those dark times too. The shit gets easier. You know, some things it'll be a struggle. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it gets easier. You know, if you're a young person, you're in high school. It's 4 years. It's only 4 years of your life. You can get through it. I promise you. Like, if any of you need to hit me up. Hit me up. Also, I don't care if I gotta stay up till 3 in the morning talking with you. I've been through that shit. You know, and it's for some of you, I don't know you personally, so I don't have any like pre fucking bias or opinions or anything. You know what I mean? It's just reach out to me, reach out to the hooligan squad, whatever. Just know you're not alone. You know what I mean? Don't take that permanent action. You know, because things get better. You know, like I said, things can still be a struggle, but they get better. You just got to keep working and keep pushing forward, and just reach out. You know, to the guys out there. Don't worry about your ego or looking like a man and fucking being all macho. Like, talk about what you're going through. Talk about what you're dealing with. You know, there's a lot of things a lot of us can leave behind when we take that sort of step. And yeah, I just, you know, like I said, I wish I had the concrete answer to make it all go away, but I don't. I have a couple ideas that might help. That's about it, and I hope they do. I really do. So, this has been Life Lessons with Juvy. I have been your host, JuvyThaKid. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at JuvyThaKid. All my quiet kids, all my freaks, all my weirdos, for the love of everybody, please keep being weird.